Yes, that's me. I did fall off the stage at Keller High School in 1998. I was 5'8" when I started, and I was 5'7" when I landed. And it made America's funniest home videos. So maybe we'll talk about that some other time. I'm Dave Lieber, and I'm happy to invite you to episode number 2 of the Dave Lieber Show. And I have a mystery guest today, special speaker. I'll give you a clue who she is. I'll show you. Look, see, she's obviously works with people in an audience. But rather than tell you what our special guest does, I'm going to show you right now.
It's good to have a good day. It's better when someone has a good day because of you. Look around. People have a lot of issues. We're all hot messes trying to do the best we can. People don't need your anger, your criticism, your judgment. Now more than ever, people need love, prayer, and support. I've got some game-changing things to help you keep your energy high. I'm Christine Cashen!
She's Christine Cashen, as she says, and she's one of the finest speakers on the earth. That's why she's here today. She's a Hall of Fame speaker. She's funny. She's content-driven. And welcome to my show, Christine.
I'm so happy. Good to see you, Dave.
Christine, you are one of the finest speakers in the world, and I figured that out by watching you for 20 years. And you're always coming up with something new, and you just come up with something new, which I want to start off with. You have an idea about really changing the world, changing the way people are. And I'm going to read you a summary of what you wrote describing this project. We don't need another app or app update. What we need is the human upgrade. In a world of constant pings, posts, and AI chatter, the real superpower is making eye contact, listening deeply, laughing often, and choosing to be less bothered. This program shows how to upgrade your everyday connections so people feel seen, valued, and remembered. Expect more energy, less loneliness, and a lot more joy. It is not about touching base. It is about touching lives. That is so cool. That's very unique, very original. Tell us how you came up with this.
Well, it just seems like with the onset of AI, everyone's thrilled with chat, which is great, right? It's a wonderful tool. But I find that every message I get is written by AI. It's not really the person. It might be their idea, but I know it's not them. It's not the essence of them. Mm-hmm. And I think about how, let's say I respond with a chat and they respond with chat. We're not even connecting anymore. And I feel like people are feeling more lonely than ever. We're not truly connecting. Yeah, maybe the grammar is correct.
Yeah.
But we're not truly connecting. I'm trying to think about how that could impact us in our relationships and our businesses, in our lives, how to truly connect with somebody else.
So why did you see the need for this?
Just within myself. You know, I'm with people all the time, but yet I can feel really lonely. And I thought, I'm missing real human connection. I don't want to have a conversation with chat. I want to have it with another person. But sometimes chat's a great person to talk to because it asks questions. It thinks I'm funny, right? Mm-hmm. The AI is taught to kind of suck up to you in a way. And I thought, I don't need that from them. I want it from the people in my life.
Mm-hmm. So where do you present this idea that you're in a draft mode right now?
It's a work in progress right now, but I've been testing out some of the things. For example, I just flew in last night from Grand Rapids. We just brought our youngest daughter to college, and I was feeling kind of down. And I did something that I've been experimenting with. A woman sat down next to me, and we say hello, and I said, "I just want to let you know I have a superpower." She looked at me. I go, "I always sit next to the most interesting person on the plane." And she was like, "What?" I'm like, "I always sit next to the coolest person. I don't know who you are, but if you want to tell me." And she kind of scoffed. She kind of was like, "Ugh." Next thing you know, she goes, "Well, I've been to 27 countries." This is last night. I'm like, "What?" She worked as a videographer for Salvation Army and going around the world and documenting the work that they do. Through the whole flight, she'd lean over and she's like, "I also write. I'm also a painter." I'm like, "See, you scoffed at me. She goes, well, I really didn't want to talk to anybody on a plane. I don't like talking to people on planes. She said, but you kind of charmed it out of me. Why? Because I made her feel good about who she was. And we had the best conversation. Dave, I have a folder of pictures on my phone that's called Plane Strangers. I've got about 30 people that I've taken pictures with that I've gotten to know just by telling them, I think I always sit next to the best person. That must be you. And then they prove to me that they are.
You see, and what you just saw there is why I believe Christine Cashen is a master storyteller. And of someone who's willing to take risks, jump out of the box, and do things that are just different from everybody else. That's why I've let her mentor me. I let her mentor me for the past 20 years, because just like that, I wouldn't never sit and talk to somebody on a plane. I just want to be buried in my magazines.
Everybody does.
But you just go out of your way to connect with people. And you do that with one person, because I know you've given a speech to one person who showed up once. And you do that with 1,000 people, don't you? Mm-hmm. That's how'd you get into that?
Into speaking?
Yeah, arena style, big time speaking.
Oh, wow. Well, I originally I was a college recruiter for my college. Yeah. And how do you get the kids to be engaged and interested in what you have to say? And so I found that humor was the key to everything. And so I started to add more of who I was rather than be a speaker, just like be a person like I normally am up on stage. And it just led to bigger and brighter things. I worked for a seminar company and then wanted to break out on my own to do my own material. So that's kind of how it started, but that was a long time ago. Late 1900s.
Well, and
the kids say.
You're a very giving person in a way that most people aren't. And the story that you told me about how you gave, was it for these two professors you had in college, you gave them, what is it?
I started an endowment in their name.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I love my college, Central Michigan University, where I graduated. I was a college recruiter for them, actually, after I had graduated. And I've been back to campus to visit. My daughter is now going there from Texas to Central Michigan. They have a great program that she wanted, so she's back up there. And I thought, I love to give money to the university, but I wanted to really have a lasting legacy and impact, but I didn't want it named after me. I thought about two of my favorite professors who really inspired me, helped me get my start, and one of which who lives in Texas. Dr. Richard Allen is 94 years old. I was his teaching assistant in college. He was my advisor. We kept in touch over the years, and I'll be darned if he didn't move down here to be near one of his sons. So we've been going to lunch every month, and I thought, what a wonderful way to honor him. So it just became live. This endowment has been fully funded, and it's for a presentation center at the college to help students get help with their presentation skills. And I'm just so tickled about that.
So what was their reaction to this?
Oh, they couldn't believe it. They cried. In fact,
they cried.
They cried.
Wow.
Yeah. Doc Allen, actually, the people at his nursing home that he lives in heard about this, and they're having a special presentation of this endowment for all the people there. And he's going to tell his story of how he overcame everything. And now that this is in his name.
That's beautiful.
So it's really special.
Yeah, that is. So you help a lot of speakers. You've helped thousands of speakers with different things. And what are the 4 or 5 mistakes that professional speakers make that keep them out of the Hall of Fame?
What are they?
Yeah, what are the typical mistakes?
Yeah, I think sounding like everybody else. I call it naming and claiming their own ideas. Make it creative, make it fun. I feel like they think there's a formula to be a speaker when actually it's finding your own special talents and exaggerating those. I don't use PowerPoint. People can't believe that I don't use. How could you do this without a PowerPoint?
Right.
And I love the freedom it allows me to go where I want, do what I want, not be beholden to, I have 12 more slides left or something like that. So, I love to do improv with the audience. A lot of people find that scary, but I really enjoy going down and asking questions of the audience. And that's my favorite part of the speech, actually.
Let's show another sample of how you speak in public.
Okay. Oh boy. It's just like how when you come into work, hey, how you doing? And someone tells you how tired they are, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. You feel the energy being sucked out of you? It's amazing. I saw this sign on a church. I loved it. It said, you could be the fountain or you could be the drain. Oh, come on, people. That's good. That is so good. Yeah, you could be the fountain or you could be the drain. Every day you got a choice to bring it or take it. When you enter a room, are people like, yeah, they're here? Or are they like, oh, crap, they're here?
Well, you did a few things there just in a few seconds that most people don't do. You did different voices, which I love. And you made it about the audience, not about yourself.
Well, sure. It's finding those universal truths. I want the audience to hit each other like, oh, that's you, that's me.
You taught me about the word relatable. And I use that now in my journalism, where I try and pick stories that are, quote, relatable to the reader. It could be a dog, it could be a U-Haul van, it could be a certain kind of dress. But when you mention it, they go, yeah, that's me. And you're big on relatables.
I think everybody wants that.
How often do you change up what you teach?
The bones are usually the same, but there's always a new story to tell, right? So I'm trying to weave those in. And now that I'm kind of moving toward this whole idea of connectivity and how can we really look someone in the eye? I mean, I could go to the store and not have anyone give me eye contact,
Right.
Or say a name. When have you last said to checkout person like, hey, Sarah, how are you? I mean, we don't. We're looking down. We're getting our coupons. We're on our phone. You don't even, like, if there was a crime, you wouldn't be able to be a witness because you didn't pay attention to anybody.
Yeah, that's remarkable. A lot of people have a hard time teaching people to break their habits. And that's what you're doing right there. You're telling them, don't look at your phone. One of the things you say is don't put your phone on the table. It's not part of the utensil set.
Right.
And, to do that, you really have to be a special person because you have to be able to look into the minds and the eyes of your audience who you just met. And you have this very unique talent of building affection with an audience before you even get up on the stage. It's like called the four corners or something like that?
Yeah, I call it, I compass the room.
Yeah.
So when I get there early, I'll meet the people in the front. What are you doing in the front? Are you winning an award? Are you on the board? Because usually people run straight to the back, right?
Right.
So I go in the back and I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm watching you if you're planning on leaving early or joke around. The sides, I just make small talk. How you doing? Have you met each other? I love to connect them to each other because a lot of times they're on the phone because they don't know what to say. They don't know. So I'll walk in the back. I'm like, I'm taking a poll. What was your first concert? Who'd you see? And then everyone when I leave, they're all talking. I know my job is done. I go to another part of the room. So they kind of know who I am before I even get up on stage.
See, that's courageous. I don't do that. I just hide in the corner and they don't know who I am and don't care. But when I'm done, they all crowd around and want to touch me and love me and kiss me and buy a book. But I don't have the guts to go around and introduce myself to people before a talk. It's one of the things I've learned from you that I've discarded,
Yeah.
So let's see, you use your family for a lot of your stories, right?
They give me a lot of material.
A lot of material. And you have a very unusual family. You have Greg, your husband, who's one of my biggest fans, maybe my only fan.
He loves, every time you have an article, he's like, did you read Dave's latest?
I love that.
Yeah.
And then you have your daughter, Camille, who just went to college, who's a drummer.
She's going to be a park ranger.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then
Eagle Scout.
And then Donovan, who might be my favorite because when he was like 12 years old, he walked up to me, he put his arm around my shoulder, he said, so tell me, Mr. Lieber, how's business? And no 12-year-old has ever asked me that. Nobody has ever asked me that. Then we go into a long discussion about the future of newspapers, and he's just a remarkable kid,
When he was in Cub Scouts, he walked up to one of the Scoutmasters and said, I really like your timepiece. And the guy was like, who is this person? What's happened? Yeah, he's always been that way.
Yeah, so these kids have, and your husband have, give you great material to work with. And they don't mind being the butt of a joke or embarrassed or...
I think, it's usually me in the poor light, right? Rather than them.
Yeah.
But living with an engineer, that gives me a lot of material, first of all. But no, I think they enjoy being part of the story and part of my speeches, for sure.
What does it mean when you get into the Speaker Hall of Fame?
Oh, wow. It means that when they introduce it, people go, ooh, she might be for real.
Yeah.
So the best thing for me about being in it is the fact that my parents were alive and there to see it.
Yeah,
So that to me was my favorite part.
Are they still alive? Yes,
They are. My
yeah.
dad's 87. He beats me in Wordle and in golf. Still at 87. My mom's 81. Yeah, they're doing great.
Another thing that you teach speakers, which is like one of your specialties, is the fun introduction.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want people to say where they graduated from, what the books are.
Right.
And so I have a problem with that. I sometimes do that, but now in my standard introduction it says, and you can find Dave Lieber in the parking lot looking for where he parked his car. And you can see the audience go, yeah, that happened to me.
That's the relatability.
That's
just
what
like
you taught me.
said.
That's what you taught me.
Exactly.
You know, what are some of the phrases that you've used in introductions that are just off the charts? You know?
Yes. So, I always tell speakers, your bio is not your intro, right? It's completely separate. So I always have a few, you need a little credibility. I usually start out with a question. Do you wish you had more time and energy? Could you use ideas for, greater relatability? Whatever it is, get the audience peaked. Our speaker today has spoken for such and such. When she's not out speaking, she's stalking her children on Life 360. Right. She's a speed limit violator. It depends on my audience. She's an average golfer. You can find her tearing up the golf course, literally, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And you can see, chasing after her dog Murphy when we had Murphy.
Yeah.
And you can tell the people with kids, with dogs, with, I'm a Pinterest fail person, whatever it is that I can relate to with the audience. And they get tickled to know I'm not just going to list all of my credentials. People are so bored by that. I'm going to earn I'm going to earn it when I start speaking. I don't need to brag so much at the start.
That's so rare. Yeah, most speakers don't do that. And when you listen to other speakers that don't do that, don't you get frustrated?
Oh yeah.
When they talk
I look at the audience and they all go to their phone.
Yeah.
But when you do one of this formula, like I used to say, I was on Jimmy Fallon. She was in the fifth row of the audience on the left-hand side.
Right.
People are like, they put down their phone, like, what is this? What's happening? What is she talking about?
Yeah,
It's fun.
and people don't generally look at their phones during the rest of your talk.
No.
I mean, that must feel really good. But also it's frustrating because, you have to sit through sometimes some really bad speakers. You talk at conferences mostly, right?
Yeah, yes.
So didn't you, if I recall correctly, you spoke and gave the same commencement address to like 4 or 5 or 6 different campuses of the same college spread
Yes,
out all over the country?
I did.
What was that? Tell me about that.
I did. Arizona, University of Arizona asked me to come and do commencement speech, and I never attended there, so I was kind of anxious about it. But I thought, how do I make this fun for the graduates? I mean, I don't even remember who spoke at mine. And then I got the opportunity to speak at mine and received an honorary doctorate from Central.
So you are Dr. Cashen.
Well, on paper,
Doc
from
Cashen.
the college just.
So how many campuses did you give that speech to?
So the University of Arizona, I think I did 4 or 5.
The same talk?
Pretty much the same talk.
And what was your message to the
Yeah.
graduates?
Well, the message was, you determine be the CEO of your own life.
Wow.
You're the CEO. Whatever job you have, even if it's starting at the bottom level, you're responsible. How would you act if you were the CEO?
Now, when you give a speech like that, do you get the kids come crowding around you to talk to you after?
Yeah, there are a lot of pictures.
Yeah?
A lot of pictures.
What kind of stuff do they tell you? What kind of feedback do they give you?
Oh, they just said, it's nice to know that someone believes in me, which is crazy because I think that everybody would tell them I believe in you, but sometimes they need to hear it from someone else, not just their families and their parents. Like the power of choice is yours. You choose how you're going to start your day. You choose what path you're going to take. You really do have more choice. Everyone thinks I can't do anything. Like, for example, my daughter going into Park Service, everyone said, oh, there's not going to be jobs. You can't do that. And she's like, I will make my way. Even if I take corporate people on a glamping trip or, go hire in scouting. Like she goes, I'm not going to let the government determine what my future holds. I determine what my future holds. There will be a job for me.
I wonder where she inherited that from. So if you're getting this, you realize this woman has tremendous power to save lives. Give her 45 minutes or an hour, and she will get people rocking and rolling when they walk out of there. They will feel good about their lives, and they feel hopeful, and that is power.
We need hope these days, Dave.
How
People
so?
are feeling hopeless. The world's kind of a dumpster fire, right? And so to realize that all the things going on, they impact my life, but I have even stronger impact. That's why I think it's really important to have this connection and sense of community and bringing people together and people being seen and understood and not feel so hopeless. We have more power than we realize. It's not the government, it's me.
My favorite story about you is about your strength and your perseverance. I probably shouldn't even tell it, but I'm going to tell it anyway. There was a speaker. You said something like, "How do I get in the Hall of Fame for speaker?" You asked, and the guy says, "Well, I don't even know who you are." And you took that to the bank, and you said, "He doesn't know who I am." And 4 or 5 years later, you got into the Hall of Fame because someone had challenged you and said, "I don't think you can do it because I don't know who you are." And you said, "Oh boy,
Yes.
No one says that to Dr. Christine Cashen." And that was like very, very moving and incentive driven for me. I saw how you can make things happen despite naysayers, Because as you know, I'm mostly a journalist. I spoke probably 2,000 times in the past 20 years, but I always speak from the journalist mindset. And one of the things about that is that you can't be boring. People come up to me at the end of a speech and go, "I didn't know you were funny."
Right.
Because they just read my articles in the paper that aren't always funny.
Yes.
But humor and content together is what drives successful speeches, right? A lot of humor, but also serious content that we saw some tonight.
Right.
So how does that work for you?
Well, I feel like, especially now, especially for the younger generation, they're used to being entertained. Small sound bites, scrolling. If they could scroll someone off the screen, off the stage, I bet they'd love that. So I think really hitting those funny bones, finding those relatable universal truths can make a big difference. And when people know that they have some interest in what you're talking about, it can affect them, makes all the difference in the world. But humor is the connector. And it's fun to watch the matches light, because at first they don't know how to take you or take me, and then all of a sudden they realize, oh, and I see them go, she's funny. Like they're like just like you, they get surprised by it, and then they can't wait for the next thing. That's why they're not on their phones. When speakers say, how do I get them off their phones? Be better, be more entertaining, be funny. It's not their problem, it's yours.
Do you get up in the middle of the night and write down things so that you don't forget it?
Oh, I don't, but I think about them and I go, this is going to be great. And if you don't write it down,
Right.
it's gone.
So you do write it down.
So I do
Right.
write it down, yeah.
Now, you use a 2-word expression that is really important in speaking and writing, and universal truth. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, we talked about it. It's finding those things that everybody gets irritated about. It's people who reply to all. It shouldn't reply to all. We all have these things that everyone goes, but if we all know this, who's still doing it? They still do it. So it's finding the things that are very common to all of us. We're all tired of people on speakerphone these days. You're so close to being, having your own private conversation. Why are you walking through the airport talking in the phone where we all hear what's going on? And just look, it's kind of like Seinfeld, but with information you can use. It's observational humor, really.
Really. You have some phones to show us, right?
Oh, yeah. So I always think, what do people get angry about? What can we do to add more fun? So I have this retro handset. You plug it into your cell phone.
And it works?
Oh, yeah. There's volumes on the side. You answer it here. It's kind of beat up. You can see. But when I'm walking through the airport talking on the phone, people get tickled to see. They're like, what? And I'm just talking. One guy was staring, and I was like, hold on, honey. Excuse me, sir. It's for you. You just want to. And people come up to me later. They're like, were you the one on the phone? I'm like, everybody's on their phone, right? But it doesn't get hot next to my ear. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to talk to, and just makes people happy.
That's funny.
And so give an example of universal truth. I'll say to the audience, like, did anyone grow up with this on your wall? And how long was the cord? And everyone's yelling 20 feet. Do you remember how long that cord was? Forever.
Yeah.
So it really gets messed up. So you got to fix it. Remember how you used to hold it down and the phone would be spinning?
Yep.
So I found something else that I thought would be better, and it is a Bluetooth banana phone. So this is great because the retro phone, everybody comes to you. The banana phone, people go far away because they think you're kind of crazy. But it's really, really fun. I just want, everyone's in Groundhog Day. We all wake up, go to sleep, wake up. Next thing you know, August is done, and you think, I thought it was just April. It's because we're not having better moments in between. We're not having those step outside of the routine and your habits that I think can make a big difference in your day and in the days of other people, right? Like to see people people's reaction to some of the things makes me so happy because it makes them happy.
Do you have any more phones in there?
Oh, no, these are the only two. These are the only two phones I have.
Tell us about that trick you used to play on the AV guys when you'd show up at a speech.
I would go in and I always love to meet the AV crew. They are so important and underappreciated, in my opinion, right? Yes, Andrew? Is that right, Andrew? Yes. Working the board today. So I come in and I say, I've got some walk-on music that I'd like for you to play. And they look around. I say, it's already rewound. It's ready to go. And they look at each other. One guy was like, I think we have a boom box. They're just so cute. And I was like, oh, no, it's just, I do have music on here, but it's a thumb drive. And they get really tickled about it. So sometimes I bring transparencies. Do you remember transparencies? Remember you have them on
yeah.
So I have some of those that I bring and I go, I need an overhead projector. Do you have an overhead projector? And just that moment of freak out, then I'm like, just kidding. And they're always like, oh, we remember that speaker. She's the one that punked us in the beginning. And then they'll go tell Brian, go tell Brian you need an overhead projector. They want me to punk the next person who wasn't there at the table. And it breaks the ice. It's so much fun. And again, it's just making memories, being memorable, being remembered, connecting.
Yeah. It's super important. And not only in speaking, but in business.
Absolutely.
Because business people don't know how to communicate. Like you said, you don't use slides, and I don't use slides. I'm a president of the American Anti-PowerPoint Association. Because, you create the story with words and humor. And, you're bouncing back and forth on the stage. And so if you're doing this idea of less stress, tell me something, one small thing that anyone listening can do right now to kind of be part of that human upgrade.
Okay. So I'm really trying, David. I'm bothered. I'm bothered by things. Things bother me all the time. My husband is not bothered. He's Mr. Engineer. He just isn't as bothered. But if you're like me, I get irritated with little things that people should know, but they don't. So I want to be an unbothered queen. So let's say somebody doesn't put their grocery cart back in the corral like they should. I get irritated with that. But now I'm unbothered. I see it, and I pick it up on my way to the grocery store. And I say to myself, oh, they must have an infant in the car. They couldn't have put it away. Because I'm pretty sure they're not just that rude just to ghost ride their cart and leave it there, right? But I want to be more unbothered with things.
Well, you taught me another lesson. I've learned so much from you. And another thing that I've learned that's really wonderful is if a guy or a girl is driving a car and they do something bad, you say to yourself, hey, they were just having a bad day. Maybe their girlfriend broke up with them. Or
oh, sure.
Tell us about
someone's driving crazy. Again, learn to be unbothered. Someone drives crazy. I'm like, oh, irritable bowel syndrome. Poor person. I hope they make it. Hope you make it home.
You create a reason for why they misbehave.
Make a reason, because there probably is a reason. Because people aren't out to irritate you. They're just irritating or irritated themselves. But I don't want it to affect me in my day.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be more the unbothered queen.
I do that.
Or king.
I do that. I say that poor person. Yeah. They just lost their wallet, and now they're taking it out on me. Yeah.
Yeah. Their dog ran away.
That would end. What do they call that kind of bad driving?
Oh, the road rage.
Road rage. Yeah, that would end.
I think any rage, because everyone's ready to draw the sword these days. For any reason, people are losing. I think it's due to the stress of the world. People carry that with them. So the smallest infraction, they lose their minds. You see it all the time. If you start, I hate to use the word Karen because that's your wife, but people have someone that's asking for the manager all the time. Yeah. And once you click on that, and the algorithm will just show you people behaving poorly. And it doesn't make me feel good inside, right? But I think, wow, they must be hurt people want to hurt people. So that's what they're doing. So they need more prayers, hope, good wishes, rather than you're going, why don't they know these things? Well, they just don't know.
Yeah. And my wife, Karen, when she introduces herself, she says, my name's Karen, but I'm not that kind of Karen.
Exactly.
So those are like her middle names,
Yes. So does my sister-in-law. I've got two of them named Karen, and they both introduce themselves that way. Like, I'm not that person, although they might be. No, I'm just kidding.
So what kind of schedule do you have? What kind of groups are you going to be talking to in the near future?
Oh, wow. What's great about this business is that you get to see a lot of different organizations.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to a group of travel Disney coordinators coming up down in Orlando, which is really fun because I worked at Disney through college.
So you'll be able to talk about that.
So it was a while ago, but I went to Disney University, and I actually have my doctorate, Dave, which is almost more impressive than the doctorate. And it's Small World, Peter Pan, Splight, and Cinderella's Carousel. So I'm really excited that I'll have some relatable things to talk to them
sure
about.
Will.
Yeah, and a lot of different, education groups. I just did the payroll Congress, people that do payroll, and you think, oh, that'd be kind of boring. They were awesome.
Oh, so?
Oh, I think they finally got let out of their office and all the work that they had to do, and they just let down their guard and had a great time. Another group I just did, this was interesting. It was school bus drivers in Wyoming. I went to Casper, 600 school bus drivers, and I thought, how am I going to relate to this? I had some stories of my bus days and my kids riding the bus, but they were so kind, so wonderful, underappreciated. Hug your bus driver, thank your bus driver, because they really, really need it. They work so hard. They are professional distracted drivers, and they're carrying precious cargo.
Yeah, and it must be a big difference between home and school in Wyoming.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, these bus drivers, they learned, in fact, they had some training while I was there of how to slide down the mountain. They did a bus rodeo to watch out for obstacles because they have moose and all the wildlife that they have there too. It was really, really fabulous. I love that.
So let's pretend you're at that conference and there's a guy in the front row. His arms are folded, his legs are crossed.
Yes.
He's got his phone now and he has no interest in whatsoever. What do you do about him?
Yeah. I do tend to focus on those people.
Yeah, we all do, I think.
Yeah. And so sometimes I come down in the audience and talk to just that person.
Oh my goodness.
And, they're right there. I'm like, what you do is so important. You're not just driving students to school, you're driving them to their future. Way to go.
See, that's courage right there. You're walking up to your enemy in the room and winning him over in front of 800 people. That's power.
That's my hope anyway. Yeah. But I feel like sometimes just letting them know I see them. It's weird how people in the audience feel like you don't see them. Like, I always tell them, this isn't television. I see you. I see you. They're scrolling. I see you with their arms crossed, whatever. And my goal is to just rope them in.
Do you make fun of their bosses?
I don't do that. But what I do is I have the organizer tell me in advance, who is somebody that brings great energy? Who is somebody who needs an extra shout out who normally is under the radar? And I have them tell me little things about the people. For example, I knew that there was a woman that was in that audience of bus drivers. She had been driving the bus for 50 years. So I said, I think her name was Elsa. And I was like, Elsa, come on up. She came up. I had her in the front. I'm like, what advice would you give to new bus drivers? And she's like, get to know the parents, because once you know the parents, you'll understand the children. And everybody was like, I made her a big hero. Like, that's, rather than making fun, I see where I can shine the spotlight so it's not always on me. And I'll have them stand up and like, let's hear it for Bobby. He, his kids love him. They ride the bus even when they get their cars. They still ride the bus because of Bobby, everybody. And that to me is secret sauce.
See, nobody does that. That's why I say that she's one of the world's greatest speakers, because most people just get up, they put up the PowerPoint, they show the deficit, the numbers, the rebates, and they just don't get into any of this stuff that she's talking about. So I feel sorry for the speaker that follows you. How does that work? Does the speaker get up and go, hey,
they
I'm not
always
like...
say, I hate to follow. Usually they're not a professional. Usually they're
Right.
like, Teresa from HR talking about a new policy. So whenever I talk to the meeting planners, I ask them about the schedule, because when I'm done, there should really be a break.
Yeah.
Not because of all of that, but because it's really hard on someone that's not a professional speaker to come in with that same level of energy and excitement.
We saw in your sizzle reel that you have some books on a table. So what books do you have out now?
Yeah, I have a book called The Good Stuff and one called It's Your Business. And they've been out for a while, but you have to go to my website. I'm trying to pull them off of Amazon. So they need to go to ChristineCashen.com to get those.
I don't think you can pull books off Amazon because they're used books that get
they're
sold
out
for
there.
half price.
Right.
Yeah. Once it goes out, it's out.
Yeah, I've revamped both of them. So a lot of things that are out there are very outdated.
And you won a National Book Award for one of them.
Yeah, both were Motivational Book of the Year by Indie Book Awards.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
See how unique she is? If you are part of a group, an organization, association, and you're looking for somebody to really motivate your workers, and she's Christine Cashen of ChristineCashen.com. Let's see, I wanted to close with...
We're already ready to close. That was so fast.
Well, if you want to add anything.
What?
Yeah.
I want to show off my pants.
Yeah, that's right.
So Dave is the Yankee cowboy. So I wore these. I don't know how I can. They're all cowgirls on them. Gunslingers. I don't know if you can see any of the gunslingers here. Lassos, guns.
Maybe stand up.
This was in honor. Oh boy, this was in honor of you. This was for you because I know you're Texas. Can you see?
Look at that.
Isn't that fun?
And you won't tell me how much that cost, right?
No, of course not.
And you won't tell your husband how much that cost.
No, of course not. The engineer will not understand the need for cash and fashion.
So cash and fashion.
Cash and fashion. I'm sorry, what did you want to close with?
Well, I wanted you to tell me the story of how you're the neighborhood mascot and what you do in your neighborhood.
Okay, so this is part of my connectivity plan, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows each other in the neighborhood. And it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So wherever I move into a neighborhood, I host neighborhood coffee hours. Sometimes they're at my house. Sometimes they're somewhere else. We'll have a neighborhood block party. So we've done Oktoberfest. I had a neighbor that brewed beer, and everyone brings out their games in the street. We block it off. One time we did a fundraiser for a high school barbecue team, and everyone could buy barbecue. So I try to keep a schedule of probably 10 or 15 things in a season so that everyone gets a chance to come.
There it is, yeah.
There's one of them right now.
Yeah. So, this is really important, especially in the suburbs, to get your neighbors to come out and get to know their names.
Yeah.
It provides safety for people.
Yes.
It provides a community. And the fact that you do that is really commendable. So
I was
good for
tired of
you.
everyone coming to me saying, whose dog is this?
Yeah. You know.
Now we all know whose dog that is. We all know.
And speaking of dogs, what about Murphy? He was famous. You used to talk about him all the
Murphy
time.
was famous.
Because you would drive through the Starbucks and get him, ice cream or?
Yeah, the pup cups, right?
Right.
Yeah, every dog should have a pup cup. Of course, it's very messy, so you have to be really careful. But that was one of his favorite things.
And you talked about him in your speeches, right?
Yeah, Murphy, it was a chocolate lab, and we had a very complicated relationship because he liked, if you didn't give him enough attention or walked him properly, he tended to chew your shoes, mostly mine, or anything else he could consume. One time he had 48 of those little Hawaiian rolls that he pulled off the counter. He ate the bag. The only thing that was left was like the little twist tie at the end.
And that's a relatable.
And he was fine,
That's a universal truth, right? We all have that, right? He left the twist tie.
He left the twist tie. Yeah. So there's always we all have stories, but you can look at it as that's negative, which it is, but also looking
funny.
back, it's so funny. And it's always a great story to share with someone.
Well, and he passed about a year or 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, no, 2020, he was 15 years old and his legs had given out. But he ended up at the end having a burger, a fries, and some whipped cream in a cup. So he went out happy.
I just picture him with his snout all covered with ice cream and cream.
Yes. In fact, I have a video of it somewhere where he was having the pup cup and the cream was hitting the roof of the car. It was all over my daughter. I mean, that's one of my favorite memories.
Last question.
Yes.
What was it like for you for COVID? Because what I recall, you would take your kids out on the front lawn and make funny videos during COVID to keep your audience engaged in your activities, right?
Yeah. Everyone did what they had to do during that time to not lose your mind. Mm-hmm. So, my kids are pretty funny. And so my husband mostly just watches, but we tried to do some light things to make people laugh. And yeah.
Folks, you just met Christine Cashen, ChristineCashen.com, one of the greatest speakers in America and around the world. And I'm not putting you on because you just saw it right there in the chair. Thank you for coming on the Dave Lieber TV show.
You're awesome. Thank you so much.
Take care.